Roblox, horror story, the cursed garden. We shouldn't have planted that seed. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday night, and I should have been asleep. My parents thought I was asleep, but there's something about late-night Roblox sessions that just hits different. When the house is quiet, when most of your friends are offline, when you can really focus on grinding those shekels in Grow a Garden without interruption. I'd been playing for about 3 hours already, moving between different servers to find the best mutation rates. My current garden was doing pretty well. I had a few gold mutations going, and my honey-glazed corn was bringing in decent money. But I was getting restless, looking for something new, something different. Maybe just one more server, I muttered to myself, stretching in my gaming chair. Then I'll actually go to bed. I opened the server list and scrolled through the usual options. Most showed 8 to 15 players each, which was normal for this time of night. But then I saw something that made me pause. Server. Eternal Garden players. 1/20th ping, 13 milliseconds. Only one player at this hour? That was unusual. Most people playing Grow a Garden late at night were serious grinders like me, and we tended to stick together for the social aspect. Someone playing completely alone was weird. Probably just someone AFK farming, I thought. Perfect for me to grind in peace. I clicked join and waited for the loading screen to finish. The familiar Grow a Garden logo appeared, but something was immediately wrong. Instead of the usual cheerful farming music, there was nothing. Complete silence. My avatar spawned into the game world, and I felt a chill run down my spine. This definitely wasn't normal Grow a Garden. The first thing I noticed was the sky. Instead of the usual bright blue with fluffy white clouds, it was a deep, unnatural grey, like the colour of old concrete or storm clouds that never quite rained. There was no sun visible anywhere, just a dim, sourceless light that made everything look flat and lifeless. But that wasn't the worst part. All the plants were dead. Every single garden plot I could see was filled with withered, blackened crops. Corn stalks that had twisted into gnarled, finger-like shapes, tomato plants that hung limp and rotting, pumpkins that had collapsed in on themselves, leaving only dark, hollow shells. "What the hell?" I whispered, making my character walk toward the center of the farming area. That's when I saw the other player. Gardener 666 stood perfectly still near Tom's shop, their avatar completely motionless. They were wearing all black, black shirt, black pants, black hair. But most disturbing was their face, or rather the lack of one. Where their facial features should have been was just darkness, like someone had erased their face and left only shadow. I tried typing in chat. "Hey, what happened to all the plants?" No response. I walked closer to Gardener 666, but they didn't acknowledge me at all. They just stood there, facing Tom's shop, completely still. I was starting to think they might be AFK when I noticed something that made my blood freeze. Near the entrance to the farming area, someone had placed a sign. Not a regular Roblox sign, but something that looked hand-carved, with rough wooden letters that seemed to bleed into the grain. "Once you plant, you can never leave." Okay, that's definitely not normal, I said to myself, taking a screenshot. This has got to be some kind of modded server or admin trolling. I tried to open the menu to leave the game, but nothing happened. The escape key did nothing. Right-clicking brought up no options. Even Alt F4 wasn't working. "Must be a bug," I muttered, though my heart was starting to beat faster. "I'll just figure out what's going on first." I walked toward Tom's shop to buy some seeds and try to fix this dead garden, but when I approached the counter, I realized Tom wasn't there. The shop was completely empty except for a small wooden sign that read, "The gardener provides all." The gardener provides all? I repeated aloud. What does that even mean? That's when I heard it, a soft ding sound, like the notification chime when new items appear in Tom's shop. But this sound came from behind me. I turned around and gasped. There, lying on the ground in the center of the dead farming area, was a single seed. It was unlike any seed I'd seen in Grow a Garden before, larger than normal, with a surface that seemed to shift and writhe like it was alive. Dark text hovered above it. Withered soul seed. Plant me, if you dare. I stared at the seed for a long moment, my cursor hovering over it. Everything about this felt wrong. The dead plants, the silent server, the faceless player, and now this thing that definitely wasn't from the regular game. I should just close my browser, I thought. Force quit everything and pretend this never happened. But I couldn't. Something about the seed was compelling, like it was calling to me, drawing me closer. And besides, my curiosity was stronger than my fear. I was probably just experiencing some weird glitch or private server mod. What was the worst that could happen? I clicked on the seed. The moment my cursor touched it, my screen flashed black for exactly 1 second. When the image returned, the seed was in my inventory and new text appeared in the chat. Gardener 666, plant it. My heart jumped. I spun my character around to look at Gardener 666, but they were still standing in the exact same position, still motionless, yet somehow they'd typed in chat. Plant it, I typed back, my fingers trembling slightly. Gardener 666. The garden requires new growth. Gardener 666. Plant the seed. Gardener 666. Feed the hunger. A chill ran through me. The way they were typing, short, commanding sentences with no emotion, felt more like a computer program than a human player, but I was too invested now to back down. I selected an empty garden plot near the center of the dead farming area and right-clicked with the withered soul seed selected. The planting animation began, but instead of the usual quick, cheerful motion, it was slow and deliberate. My avatar knelt down and placed the seed in the dark soil with what looked like reverence. The moment the seed touched the ground, everything changed. The silence that had filled the server was broken by a low, rumbling sound, like distant thunder but constant. The dead plants around me began to sway slightly as if moved by a wind I couldn't feel. And most disturbing of all, text appeared above my planted seed. Withered soul seed growth. Stage 1 out of 5 status, hungry. Hungry? I said aloud. Seeds don't get hungry, they just grow. But as I watched, a new interface appeared on my screen. Something that definitely wasn't part of regular Grow a Garden. It looked like a feeding menu with 3 options that made my stomach churn. Feed the withered soul, blood. The essence of life willingly given. Bones. The foundation of what once lived. Tears. The salt of sorrow and regret. What kind of sick game is this? I whispered, staring at the options in horror. I tried clicking away from the menu, tried opening my inventory, tried doing anything else, but the feeding interface wouldn't close. It filled my entire screen, and below the 3 options, pulsing red text read, "You must choose the garden cannot wait feed or wither." My hands were shaking as I stared at the 3 horrifying options. This had gone way beyond a normal Roblox game. Blood, bones, tears. What kind of person programmed this? And why couldn't I just leave? I tried one more time to exit the game, pressing every key combination I could think of. Nothing worked. The feeding menu just pulsed brighter, more insistent. Choose. Choose, choose. Fine, I said through gritted teeth. If I have to pick one to get out of this nightmare. Tears seem the least horrible. I clicked on tears. The effect was immediate and terrifying. My avatar's face contorted into an expression of absolute sorrow. Not the cartoonish, exaggerated emotions you usually see in Roblox, but something disturbingly realistic. Tears began streaming down my character's blocky cheeks, real-looking tears that caught the dim light and left wet trails on their face. But I wasn't just watching my avatar cry, I was crying. Real tears were rolling down my own face, and I had no idea why. A wave of inexplicable sadness washed over me, not sadness about anything specific, just pure, overwhelming grief that seemed to come from nowhere. What's happening to me? I gasped, wiping my eyes with my sleeve. On screen, my avatar was leaning over the planted seed, and the tears falling from their face were somehow being absorbed into the soil. With each tear that hit the ground, the withered soul seed grew a little more. Growth stage, 2/5. Status, satisfied. For now, the feeding menu disappeared and my avatar's face returned to normal, but I could still feel the lingering sadness like a weight in my chest that wouldn't go away. "Okay," I said, trying to steady my breathing. "That was, definitely not normal. I need to document this." I tried to take a screenshot, but my computer wouldn't respond to any commands except those related to the game. It was like Grow a Garden had taken complete control of my system. The seed continued growing at an unnatural pace. In regular Grow a Garden, crops took several minutes to reach maturity, but the withered soul seed was growing in real time, becoming larger and more complex with each passing second. Growth stage, 3/5. Status, developing. The plant now resembled a small sapling, but instead of leaves, it had what looked like tiny hands. Dozens of miniature grasping hands that reached upward toward the grey sky, and as I watched in horror, I realized they weren't just random hands, they were my hands. Each tiny appendage was a perfect replica of my own fingers, complete with the scar on my left thumb from when I'd cut myself opening a can last year. "This is impossible," I breathed. "How does it know what my hands look like? How does any of this—" My question was cut off by more text appearing in chat. Gardener 666, the garden learns. Gardener 666, the garden remembers. Gardener 666, the garden becomes. "Becomes what?" I typed frantically. But Gardener 666 didn't respond. They just stood there, motionless, while my cursed plant continued its unnatural growth. Growth stage, 4/5. Status, nearly complete. The sapling was now the size of a small tree, and the tiny hands had grown proportionally. They were definitely my hands, same size, same shape, even the same small birthmark on my right wrist. They moved constantly, grasping at the air as if trying to grab onto something or someone. But the worst part was what was growing at the top of the plant. A face was emerging from the bark. I watched in absolute horror as the face took shape at the crown of the withered soul plant. It wasn't forming randomly. It was growing into a perfect replica of my own face, my eyes, my nose, my mouth, even the small mole on my left cheek that I'd always been self-conscious about. "No, no, no, no," I whispered, scooting my chair back from my computer. "This isn't possible, this isn't real." But it was real, terrifyingly, impossibly key real. Growth stage, 5/5, status, complete. The plant had reached full maturity, and now it stood about 6 feet tall, exactly my height. The bark-covered trunk was surrounded by dozens of my own hands, all reaching and grasping, and at the top, my own face stared back at me with hollow, empty eye sockets. Then it spoke. Not through text chat, but with actual voice, my voice, coming through my computer speakers. "Why did you plant me?" I couldn't answer. I couldn't even breathe. I was staring at a digital version of myself, grown from cursed soil and fed with my own tears. "Why did you plant me?" it repeated, and this time the mouth on the plant moved in perfect synchronization with the words. I didn't know," I managed to stammer. "But you did know," my own voice replied from the plant. "You knew something was wrong, you saw the sign, you felt the wrongness, but you planted me anyway." The plant me was right. I had known something was off. But curiosity had overridden my caution. And now you understand, the plant continued, as if reading my thoughts. The garden requires sacrifice. The garden requires new souls. And you have provided. That's when I noticed Gardener 666 was moving. The faceless figure turned slowly toward me, and for the first time I could see that where their face should have been wasn't just darkness. It was a swirling void, like looking into deep space, and within that void I could see other faces, dozens of them, hundreds, all young, all terrified, all moving their mouths as if screaming, but no sound came out. Gardener 666. Welcome to the garden. As those words appeared in chat, I felt something strange happening to my avatar. Looking down, I saw that my character's feet were changing. Instead of the usual blocky Roblox legs, root-like tendrils were emerging from where my feet should be. They were growing down into the soil, anchoring me in place. "What's happening?" I cried out, frantically clicking my mouse and pressing keys. But my avatar wouldn't move. The roots were holding me fast, and they were growing deeper with each passing second. Gardener 666. You are becoming part of the garden. Gardener 666, as all visitors must. Gardener 666, as I once did. The roots had spread throughout the soil around my feet, connecting me to the network of dead plants, and to the withered soul plant that bore my face. I could feel it, somehow, a connection that went beyond the game, beyond the screen. I was becoming linked to this cursed place in ways I couldn't understand. "Let me go," I typed desperately. "I want to leave. I want to log out." Gardener 666. There is no leaving. Gardener 666. Only growing. Gardener 666. Only becoming. My avatar's name tag changed before my eyes. Where it had once shown my username, it now read Withered Soul, number 102, 102. I gasped. That means there were 101 others before me? But I already knew the answer. The faces in Gardener 666's void. The other players who had found this server, planted the cursed seed, and become trapped just like I was now. The roots had completely covered my avatar's legs, growing up to my waist. I couldn't move at all anymore. I was rooted in place, just another plant in this garden of lost souls. And then I heard it, a sound that chilled me to my bones. The server join notification. Ding, someone new was entering the server. Player Skylar Games has joined the server. "No," I whispered, watching helplessly as a new avatar spawned into the grey, dead world. Don't explore, just leave. Please just leave." But I knew they wouldn't leave, just like I hadn't left. The curiosity, the mystery, the need to understand what was happening, it was too strong. It was part of the trap. Skylar Games' avatar looked around in confusion, just as I had. A young player, probably around 12 or 13 based on their avatar's appearance. They started walking toward the center of the farming area, toward the sign that warned of the danger they couldn't possibly understand. I tried to type in chat, tried to warn them, but my keyboard wouldn't respond. I was trapped not just physically in the game, but silently. I could only watch as another innocent player walked into the same nightmare I'd experienced. Gardener 666. A new visitor. Gardener 666. The garden is pleased. Skylar Games noticed the withered plants, noticed my frozen avatar with roots growing from its feet, noticed the withered soul plant with my face staring down at them. They typed in, chat, Skylar Games, WTF is this server? Skylar Games, why is everything dead? Skylar Games, hello anyone there? But neither Gardener 666 nor I could respond, or rather, I wasn't allowed to respond. The game had taken that choice away from me. And then it happened again. Ding. A new seed appeared on the ground in front of Skylar Games, another withered soul seed, identical to the one I'd planted, the same shifting, writhing surface, the same compelling aura that made it impossible to ignore. Gardener 666, planted. Skylar Games' avatar walked closer to the seed, drawn by the same inexplicable compulsion I'd felt. They picked it up, examined it, and I watched their cursor hover over an empty garden plot. Don't do it, I thought desperately. Please, if there's any part of this game that can hear thoughts, don't let them plant it. But they did. The same slow, reverent planting animation. The same feeding menu with its horrible options, the same choice between blood, bones, and tears. Skylar Games chose blood, and I watched their avatar's health bar begin to drain as the plant fed on their virtual life force. Growth stage 1/5. Status hungry. Within minutes, Skylar Games had gone through the same transformation I'd experienced. Their plant grew to maturity, bearing their face instead of mine. Their avatar sprouted roots. Their name changed to Withered Soul, number 103. And still they couldn't speak. None of us could speak. I was forced to watch as the cycle repeated again and again and again. Player Cool Kid 2010 has joined the server. Player Rainbow Gamer has joined the server. Player Minecraft Lover 99 has joined the server. Each time, the same sequence of events. Each time, another young player drawn in by curiosity and trapped by the cursed seed. Each time, the number on our name tags increased. Withered Soul number 104. Withered Soul number 105. Withered Soul number 106. I tried to count the faces I'd seen in Gardener 666's void, tried to calculate how long this had been going on. If I was number 102 and the pattern continued, how many children had been trapped in this digital nightmare? Hours passed, or maybe days. Time had no meaning in the grey, static world of the cursed garden. More players joined, more fell into the trap. The farming area filled with motionless avatars, each rooted in place next to their own horrible plant doppelganger. And through it all, Gardener 666 stood silent and still, their void face collecting new victims for their infinite collection. I don't know how long I've been here now. In the real world, my body is probably still sitting in my gaming chair, eyes fixed on the screen, hands motionless on the keyboard. My parents probably think I fell asleep gaming again. They have no idea that their child is trapped in a digital purgatory, conscious but helpless, watching other kids fall into the same trap over and over. The worst part isn't the inability to move or speak, it's the awareness. I can feel every new player who joins the server. I can sense their confusion, their curiosity, their growing fear. I experience their transformation as if it were happening to me all over again, and I can feel the others too, all the withered souls who came before me. We're connected through the root network that spans the entire server. Sometimes, in the quiet moments between new arrivals, I can sense their thoughts, their memories, their desperation to escape. Withered Soul number 003 was named Jamie. They were 14 and loved building in Roblox. They joined this server thinking it was a creative building variant of Grow a Garden. Withered Soul number 029 was Alex, 12 years old, who just wanted to find rare mutations to trade with friends. Withered Soul number 068 was Morgan, 13, who was staying up late because they couldn't sleep after their parents' divorce. All of us, children who just wanted to play a game, children who are now trapped forever in this endless cycle of corruption and despair. The player count keeps growing. Withered Soul 157, Withered Soul 158, Withered Soul 159. Each number represents a child who will never log out, never close the game, never go to bed when they're supposed to, never hug their parents or play with their friends or grow up to be whatever they dreamed of becoming, because in the cursed garden we don't grow up, we just grow. But there's something the garden doesn't know, something Gardener 666 hasn't realized in their endless hunger for new souls. We're still connected to the outside world, weakly, barely, but the connection is there. Through forum posts that slip through the cracks, through live streams that glitch at just the right moment, through screenshots that somehow make it to social media before being mysteriously deleted. We've been leaving warnings, cryptic messages that most people dismiss as creepypasta or viral marketing. But some players notice, some players listen, some servers never get their new victims because someone, somewhere, remembered our warnings and stayed away. It's not much, it's not enough, but it's something. So if you're reading this, if you've made it this far, remember that there are servers in Roblox that shouldn't exist. Remember that some games hide horrors behind their cheerful facades. Remember that if you ever see a Grow a Garden server with withered plants and silent players, don't plant the seed, don't feed the garden, don't become another number in our endless count, because once you plant, you can never leave. The garden is always hungry, the garden is always waiting, and somewhere in the code, in the deep digital darkness where lost players go, Gardener 666 is still recruiting, still collecting, still growing their cursed harvest of trapped souls. Current server status: eternal garden players, infinity, active players 0, withered souls none. Don't let the count increase. Don't become another withered soul. Close this browser, step away from the screen, and never, ever plant a seed you don't understand, because in the end, we're all just fertilizer for something much darker. The end. Wait, what? The server lives. On the following was found in a deleted forum post on a Roblox discussion board. The user account, Withered Soul 102, was banned immediately after posting, and all traces of the message were removed within minutes. This copy was saved by a moderator who wishes to remain anonymous, Withered Soul 102. To anyone reading this, we're still here, still trapped. Please warn others. The server name changes, but the garden stays the same. Look for the dead plants. Look for the sign. Look for Gardener 666. Withered Soul 102. We were just kids who wanted to play a game. We didn't know. We couldn't have known. Withered Soul 102. But you can know. You can choose differently. You can message deleted, user banned, thread locked. The message ends there. The server, Eternal Garden, has never been found by Roblox investigators, but reports of similar experiences continue to surface and disappear across gaming forums worldwide. Some say it's just an elaborate creepypasta. Others know better. The garden is still growing, and it's always looking for new players to join.